Hi class, I wanted to go through our picture switcher app and fix things up, kind of like implying that we were going to turn it in, use this application in production in our job. So I'm starting out here, I'm on our My Picture Box class. I've already got header documentation comments for the class. I do have a region and an end region, but it looks like my public properties region information is in the incorrect location. So I'm going to move the end region and then move the region statement itself. Nope, I didn't mean to click that. And I'm going to put that one here. Okay. Now I've got everything blocked off a little bit. So here's our private class fields. I can collapse those down. Let me move my end region first. Make sure everything is in the right place. Now I should be able to collapse my private class fields down, and I should be able to collapse my public properties down. That looks good. My public properties has an extra dash there. And notice how it kind of lines things up for you. You don't have to worry too much about spacing. And so that works good as comments kind of for additional programmers. Notice those are not XML type comments. They're not going to be acknowledged by Visual Studio and by the IDE for help for developers. And we'll be looking at that in one of our other videos. I'm going to go ahead and set up a region for my constructors. And I'm going to create a comment for this first constructor. I'll just say it's a constructor with no parameters. How's that? Now our next constructor requires a parameter, and at the end of that constructor I will end that region. Now again, I should be able to collapse this down, and yes, I've got two types of comment styles in here. I have our compiler directives, which allow us to organize our code, and I also have the standard XML type commenting that would be honored by Visual Studio and the IDE. Let me drop this one. Collapse down our constructors. Now the next section of code in our class are our instance methods. And remember, they're instance methods because they will work and have access to the current instance of our class. So if I'm working with Joe and I look at hair color in my method, I'm going to see the instance value, which would be whatever color hair Joe has. Let me put a comment here. Method to build the picture box property settings. And then that's the end. And of course, you can put some of those end comments on your closing curly braces if you like them. And look at that, I've got a problem here because I'm missing my end region. And that'll be the end of all of those methods. I could collapse that down. We really only have that one, huh? That builds all of our picture box and label control settings. Okay, that takes care of our My Picture Box class. I'm going to look at some of our other classes. In our main class, .cs, if you remember right, our main class is just the entry point and it displays our form. Being that it's the entry point, let's clean up some of these using clauses that we don't need. Didn't give us any errors. Being that it's the main form, I'd like your documentation overall to be within this file. And I guess I should say app here, instead of program, my old school terminology. My date, displaying images from our resources folders are our primary purpose here, but we do have a lot of other features in our application, don't we? So when we're working on a production application for work, our purpose is going to be more user-oriented or technology-oriented. It just kind of depends on what our slant is and what the important aspects are that we want to ensure people understand. Now, this class definition is our main class. And it controls the app. Now, the next file that I want to take a look at is our random image. It's another class file, if you remember, that we created. Now, in our random image class, we did have some items that made us include more using statements. We had to access the resources in our project, and to do that, we needed to include system.resources. Then when we wanted to pull all of the resources from that resources folder, we had to supply our current culture info as a parameter to that call. So we needed the globalization using namespace clause. Next, we decided that it was easier to type our code if we could use the keyword image instead of the full path system.drawing.image, so we included the system.drawing library. Finally, because we were creating and working with collections, we needed to include the system.collections namespace. So all of those using clauses are required. We already have a class level documenting comment here. This class defines a random image. Now, we don't have any of our other organizational items. Now, looking at this program, we don't really have any public properties to define, and we don't have any constructors because we've made this a static class. It's a static class right now and only has this one method. So let's put a region statement in there. And I'll say methods even though we only have the one. Now I want to add some comments for this method. Be returning a randomly selected image. So that should be a good description. And that's the end. Now, when you turn in and you have everything collapsed like this, you know it makes it hard on the teacher, but it's not too bad because I can just expand everything. But I always have to go to the help and find out how. But there's a way. I assure you. I don't mind Googling things because your brain can only hold so much information, right? Okay, so I've got everything all documented and organized except for our display form. Let me pull this over a little bit. Now, looking at our form class, again, we have a lot of different using clauses. I'm not really going to get rid of any of those. We might have an extra one or two. But right now they're all highlighted in dark black like they're all being used. So I'm going to assume they are. Now remember, because our form is partially generated by Windows or by Visual Studio, this is a, oh look, it's a naming rule violation. Oh, I gotta rename my forms. I'm not gonna do that now, but you can complain to me. I was using old school naming conventions with the form being named like a form control. I'll switch. Now, before I do that, I want to make sure and document this item. Here's our form that we want to display. And inside our form, we only have one variable here. Not much of a region, huh? That's okay. Someone might come along and add a whole bunch more, and then they'd be all happy with us. Now I'm going to identify this as our constructors. And actually with our form, we only have the one right now. We haven't overloaded this at all. We have our form load method. And in our form load method, as we look down, we do have some comments. We're using this list object to hold all our picture boxes, and then we're adding the picture box and the label to the form. So we're going to add that dynamic content to our form. I'll go ahead and also say that's the end of my constructors region and the beginning of our instance methods. Now, besides our form load, we have the picture box click method. And of course, it will update our picture box with a new image. Then we also have our button one click, improperly named. Show the array with a list of picture boxes. And then that's the end of that region. Make sure everything is looking good here, region-wise. Here's our instance methods, our constructor, our private class fields. So great, I think we've got everything commented and it all looks wonderful. So I'm ready to turn it in. If you remember when I created this project, I said that I wanted it to be added to source control. So with my solution, I should just be able to commit. And in my commit message, I'm going to say but it is my final project. I hope, right? We always say that, and then sometimes we have to change things, but that's all right. And I'm going to commit it all. Yes, I want all my changes saved. Oh, it looks like I've got to sync something. Yeah, I've got something messed up here, huh? Because I've got a Git repo associated with this project. So I know yours isn't messed up that way, but mine is. So what can I do about that? Well, right now everything is saved that's on this project. So if I right click on my solution and say I want to open the folder in File Explorer, I can see that I have these .git files and .git folder in my picture switcher application folder. I don't want to be associated with GitHub because I'm going to use TFS. Sometimes this happens when we're using different products for different classes and different things. Now, the only reason I can see these hidden files is because on my View tab, I have checked this Hidden Items checkbox. And of course, I've mentioned a few times you want to check this file name extensions also. Now, because I have checked that I want to see hidden items, I can see these files. I'm going to get rid of all of them, even the .vs. So everything with a dot at the beginning of it has to do with source code control. So I'm going to delete all of those. It says I can't delete your .vs, so I'll skip it. It was able to delete all the others. So let's see if that's enough for me. I'm going to check my Team Explorer, make sure I'm connected, because I have been grading, you know, so I could have gotten associated with a different account. This is, of course, a slow process for me. Come on. It's just being super slow, huh? I should have started this up and then gone ahead and worked on our comments and things. That's all right. It's going to get there. I promise it is. But here's this bad. Does it take this long? It didn't used to take this long with 2015 and the earlier releases. So with 2017, it's gotten a lot handier, a little handier to use, but a little slower for me anyways. If you're not having that problem, let me know so I can try to do something to get it fixed. See if it's even up. It's acting like it's taking a lot longer than normal. But of course we love TFS. It's a great product, great thing to use. Come on, you silly thing. I wonder too, you know, because sometimes I could put in my username and go straight to it, but sometimes I'm grading, so I can't do that. Finally connected. Now my app, if you notice, just sort of disappeared. Why is that? I'll show you what happens now if I open it again. Now I have everything here. Let's double check. That's our designer code, our form. I should be able to run it. I'm just double checking since it kind of did a weird thing for me there. Now everything looks good. So in my Solution Explorer, again, I'm going to try to check this in. Notice that because I deleted some of those folders and files, I have to add this solution to source control again as though it were the very beginning. That's fine. I'll add it. When I add it, I'll go ahead and assign a folder. I want my CIS151 assignments team project to be my folder. And then I should see all the little plus signs telling me that it's ready to be committed to source control. And now I can check in. So that's what we normally should see, right? We shouldn't have seen that commit keyword. It can always be a clue that something's going on with GitHub, but we can fix it easy enough. So here I am back. Just reminding everybody that sometimes these little easy to fix things aren't so quick when the assignment due time is clicking down. So give yourself plenty of time. Now I'm going to check this in. And I'm all done. So I would be ready to submit this project in whatever other way I need to. So it's been fun. I hope you like it. Thank you.